July 22, 1991. Milwaukee police receive a call from a frantic man running through the streets, one hand in a cuff, the other pointing toward an apartment building. Inside apartment 213, officers step into what looks like an ordinary home. But the stench tells a different story. The fridge holds severed heads. A cabinet stores human skulls. In the corner, a blue barrel filled with acid quietly dissolves human remains. Photographs of dismembered bodies are stacked neatly in a drawer. This was not just a crime scene. It was a house of horrors. And the man who lived there was Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer. To understand how Dahmer became one of history's most infamous killers, we have to go back. Jeffrey was born in May 1960. At first glance, his childhood seemed unremarkable. But beneath the surface, he was a quiet, withdrawn boy who felt invisible in his own family. His parents' marriage was bitter, filled with fights, and by the time they divorced, Dahmer was already showing troubling signs. While most kids collected baseball cards, Jeffrey collected roadkill, dissecting dead animals in the woods near his house. He told classmates he was curious about what lay inside living things. Teachers noticed he seemed distant, his eyes often glazed over. By high school, he was drinking during class, hiding bottles in his locker, trying to silence something inside him. Just after turning 18, Dahmer committed his first murder. In June 1978, he picked up a hitchhiker named Stephen Hicks. They drank together at Dahmer's house, but when Hicks wanted to leave, Jeffrey panicked. He struck him with a dumbbell, then strangled him. The fear of being abandoned, of losing control, had turned deadly. Dahmer dismembered the body, scattering the remains in the woods. He later said he knew, even then, that his urges would never go away. For nearly a decade after, Dahmer lived in silence. He tried college, failed out, joined the army, and was discharged for heavy drinking. He lived with his grandmother, who sometimes complained about the strange smells from the basement. But Jeffrey always had an excuse. For 9 years, he didn't kill again. But the darkness never left him. In 1987, he gave into it once more. He met 25-year-old Stephen Twomey at a bar and took him to a hotel. The next morning, Twomey was dead. Dahmer claimed he blacked out and couldn't remember killing him. He bought a suitcase, stuffed the body inside, and dismembered it back at his grandmother's home. It was the start of a terrifying spree. From then on, one victim followed another. Most were young men lured from bars with promises of money, alcohol, or companionship. Dahmer would drug them, strangle them, and keep their bodies for hours, sometimes days. He took photographs of their corpses. He preserved skulls as trophies. By the late 80s, his obsession had spiraled far beyond killing. He wanted complete control, even attempting to create zombies by drilling holes in his victims' skulls and injecting acid or boiling water, hoping to keep them alive but obedient. In 1990, Dahmer moved into apartment 213 at the Oxford Apartments. On the outside, it looked like an ordinary one-bedroom. Inside, it became his private laboratory of death. The refrigerator contained severed heads. The freezer held hearts and muscles. A large barrel of acid stood in the bedroom, used to dissolve remains. He told police later that he was building an altar, a shrine of skulls and bones where he could sit and feel powerful. The horror could have ended sooner. In May 1991, 14-year-old Konarak Synthesum Phone escaped Dahmer's apartment, naked, bleeding, and drugged. Neighbors called the police. But when officers arrived, Dahmer convinced them that Konarak was his 19-year-old partner, and they were simply having a lover's quarrel. The police escorted the boy back inside, leaving him to be murdered within the hour. That single decision allowed Dahmer to continue killing. It all came crashing down on July 22, 1991. That night, Dahmer lured Tracy Edwards to his apartment. intending to kill him like the others. But Edwards fought back, punching Dahmer and escaping through the door with one hand still cuffed. He flagged down police, who followed him back to the apartment. What they found inside shocked the world. Photographs of mutilated victims, human remains preserved like trophies, and evidence of 17 murders spanning over a decade. At his trial in 1992, Dahmer pled guilty but argued he was insane. The jury disagreed, sentencing him to 15 consecutive life terms. In prison, Dahmer seemed almost relieved to be caught. He spoke openly of his compulsions, his loneliness, and his attempts to silence the urges with alcohol. Urges that always returned, but remorse didn't save him. In November 1994, another inmate, Christopher Scarver, beat him to death with a metal bar in a prison bathroom. Jeffrey Dahmer's story is not just about one man's brutality. It's about missed warning signs, failed police action, and victims whose lives were cut short, many of whom came from marginalized community society often ignored. Behind Dahmer's quiet smile and ordinary apartment door lay a nightmare no one could imagine, until it was too late. This was the story of Jeffrey Dahmer, the Milwaukee Cannibal. You've been watching Intrigue. Subscribe for more true crime stories that reveal how monsters hide in plain sight.